are live. Even though you can barely make me out, I look like I'm in the shadows.
Yeah, I step into the light.
That was our brand new opening, and we are here. This is the Tuesday before WrestleMania 33, but who has time for WrestleMania? We can talk about independent wrestling.
I'm on my way. I'm leaving
I'm
here
Hollywood
tonight.
J. Williams.
I'm leaving here tonight.
This guy's leaving on heading out on a plane to Orlando. Ruckus John Zimmerman. Way over here, the dangerous one himself,
I'll be here.
who's more worried about what's going on his cell phone right now than the actual show.
Cell phone.
Hey, it's important. I have to be up to date.
Yeah.
Dangerous Dan. And we've got, we don't really have guests too often.
Not often enough.
Not often enough, I gotta say. But we have two distinguished gentlemen right here.
Where? Oh, us. You.
I guess so.
I guess.
Well,
Right.
the voice of Paradise Alley and Blitzkrieg and how many other promotions can we
not
speak
at the
for?
moment.
That's it
Well,
right now.
Different conversation for a
Well,
different
they're
day.
coming up, but they are coming up. But RJ Toothe, our good friend, and
RJ
of course
Toothe.
the returning Sergeant Murray.
Right. Sergeant Murray is here.
And you've seen him in action on our show many a time.
Many times.
And now full partner at Paradise Alley Professional Wrestling. So
Thank you.
definitely well deserved.
Thank you.
Hardest working man
Right.
in the business right now.
I don't know about all that, but we give it our best shot.
Yeah.
You are a full partner.
Yes. I was offered an opportunity, and you'd have to be a fool not to take it. We are doing big things.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to go into my reserved voice for this, but we're doing big things there. We are about to run April 8th. We just ran
March 18th.
We just ran March 18th. You guys were there. We put 506 people in East Haven Middle School without a name. And when I say without a name, we were the names. We didn't bring in a big name from anybody. We put ourselves on, and we have a following. They come out in the snow. They come out in the rain. These people are passionate about Paradise Alley professional wrestling. And it's due to you fans, and I'm looking at you fans. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Roma, Mancini, Perez, and everybody that works at Paradise Alley, thank you for making us what we are, and we are promising you we are not going to disappoint from here on out. April 8th, we're going to be in Middletown at the Woodrow Wilson Middle School. We're going to tear the place down there. We're branching out. And then April 22nd, we're going to be back at Malillo Middle School for Wrestling for Knockout Autism. Mm-hmm. We are very excited to be a part of that. May 13th, we're going to have shows. We're going to put on 2 shows a month. We got big things coming up. But the guys were here. The guys were there on March 18th, and they can attest. RJ was announcing. We tore the roof off that place.
Mm-hmm.
You know, all of our guys put out 110%, and I don't think anybody went home not happy or entertained, and that's exactly what we wanted to do.
Now, you know what? And you mentioned that. I don't think anybody left early that day. I think everybody stayed until the very end. It wasn't like they were there for one guy and left.
Yeah.
It was 100%. Just action, and the crowd was into every single match all the way up until I didn't think they wanted to leave. I think they wanted more to come out of the curtain.
Which for an independent show, again, without a name.
Right.
And again, no offense to any other promotion that brings in a name, but our promotion did that without a mainstream name.
Right.
We did it with local talent,
Right.
local names that people know now.
Right.
And dare I say, I may be speaking out of turn here, but I don't think there's another company around, at least in our area, who can do that, with the exception of a few others. Like I know PvP is a strictly local company, things like that. But as far as just using homegrown students and just the way that these guys go, it's ridiculous. It's crazy.
And each one of your dare I say characters have a following, and you've got You know, Kenny Roberts and the people absolutely pop for him.
Biggest reaction I've ever
Right.
heard.
We had to
Any-
replace boards this week. We had to replace boards this week. We thought it was because of our big men hitting the wood. No. It's because if you go back and you see the clips of the end of that show,
Yep.
and he had that ring full,
Yeah.
the ring was bowing
Yeah.
with all those kids dancing.
Yep.
And that's a test to Kenny Roberts.
Yeah.
That's a test to Holiday. That's a test to Matthias, Ty Shine, Mr. Williams,
House of Pain.
House of Pain, R.J. Rude,
Yeah.
Zane Bernardo.
St. Bernard, yeah.
And, you know, I would normally have had one of my shirts on, because that's what you do, harmless plugs. But at this, I don't know if you all spoke about it, but this guy right here, the Punisher, he was my mentor. He got me into this 4 years ago and said, come on, we're going to go down here. We're going to go down to ECPW, Gino Caruso's promotion, and we're going to give it a shot. It was supposed to be 4 hours, go home. 4 years later. This man means the world to me, and I owe it to him to give 110%.
We did mention that last week. It's
Yeah.
very, very shocking.
Yes, it was. I spoke to him the night before he passed away, and I got to tell him I love him, like we always said to each other.
Yep.
And that's all I can ask for. But he was the guy. You know, people say, who was the guy that got you in, and who was the guy that brought you in? Alan Nastemski, the Punisher, he brought me in. And these shirts were on sale. All the money is going to Make-A-Wish and charities. You can probably go online. Teespring got them. My wife surprised me. She got me this one. But they're on sale. They got all kinds of Punisher gear. You got the old school Punisher shirts. You got stickers, tank tops. You're not supporting anybody but Make-A-Wish and the Pop Warner Football League down there in Fairfield, because Al's a big supporter of that. He was a coach. That's where the money's going. So go get your Punisher t-shirt. The money's going to a good cause. It's not just going somewhere else.
And you know, and your character as well, Sergeant Murray, gets over very well.
So, you know, Sergeant Murray is just, you know, life imitates art, imitates life.
Yeah.
It's all it's for the wrestling jargon. It's a straight shoot. It's not a work. That's what I was. I was 4 years in the United States Air Force. You know, got out as a sergeant in 1993. I was a cop in the Air Force. I was in the first Gulf War. All of that is true. None of it's made up. You can fact check it. You know, it's not fake news. It's legit.
So it's a character based on
Real
on
life.
you.
So it's not really a character.
You know, so it's not really a character. I'm the character.
Right.
But I mean, it was kind of like, you know, my other character, the corrector, when I first started. I am a correctional officer. Been doing it for almost 24 years. So it's not that far off of what I am. I was a bad guy, though. This is another end of it. But that's me, Sergeant Murray. I mean, the name is real, the rank is real, the character is real, the American flag is real. The whole thing is real.
And you know, outside of this, the man is real, and I can attest to that. And anybody sitting here that knows Ralph outside of this forum,
Right.
you are a genuine gentleman and a very helpful guy, and very well deserved that you were taken into Paradise Alley. And
I can't thank them enough. They gave me a home a year ago. You know, I was just, you know, I would work if somebody called me.
Yep.
It wasn't full time. And a year ago, I happened to meet up with Mario Mancini at another show, and he said, "Why don't you come down?" And I went down, and the rest, as they say, is history. You know, I broke my behind for 12 months. And, you know, it paid off. And like we all do, all those guys are in there and they're breaking their behinds. You know, Kenny Roberts, I love that kid to death. I love him to death. And I'm going to say it, I don't care. I was the first one through the curtain when he won that match.
Right.
And I don't care. I was out there in the middle on the ramp clapping.
We don't want to lose Kenny Roberts. We love and respect Richard Holiday around here. But we don't want to lose Kenny
Kenny Roberts ain't going nowhere. I'll make sure of that.
Yeah.
I'll make sure Kenny Roberts ain't going nowhere. I'll tie him to something.
yeah.
But we are really carving a niche. And Roma was on Steve Austin's podcast a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
And he said it, and it made us all put our heads up. a little bit higher. Because he said, I'll put any of my guys up against anybody in the WWE, NXT, Ring of Honor, TNA, and they're going to run. And we all, necks went up a little bit straighter, backs got a little bit tighter.
Right.
Sucked in your belly a little bit more. Because you know what? That for Roman to say that, you're talking about a cat that wrestled in two WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's big.
Yeah.
'Cause not a lot of people can say, I've wrestled at WrestleMania. And we got one of the few.
Yeah.
And so you strive to work to give him what he wants. You want to make sure that you're giving him the best product, because in turn you're going to give everybody the best product. And that's what we want to do. We want to make those kids in the front row, as well as those kids up in the bleacher, happy from the time they hit this door to the time they leave. And I will say, you're right, Ruckus. They didn't want to go home. No. They wanted another match, and if we could have figured a way out, we might have been able to pull it off. But we were all kind of beat because we had a really good night that day.
Yeah.
You can blame Kenny Roberts for breaking the boards.
I will blame Kenny Roberts for breaking the boards, because I'm in charge. I'm in charge of the logistics, getting the ring there.
Yeah.
Right.
That's my thing outside of wrestling. And so when you're putting the ring back together, you're like, we just bought that, or.
And I got to say, I was there helping put the ring together and
Yes.
helping set up and tear down as well. And just watching the whole thing from the time that you guys get there to the time you guys are ready to book out. And,
It's a process.
it's a family thing, and it's an all hands on deck.
I got lucky because my nephew got married that afternoon. So I got the trailer there early, and the guys, I said, look, I'm not going to get there early. For usually I'm there before everybody, because that's just my demeanor, and we get everybody in and we get moving. And it was nice. I got there at 4 because I told everybody we're going to get there for 4, we can get in. I got there at 4. I walked in, the ring was done. I'm like, guys, they're like, don't worry about it, man. You're at your nephew's wedding. They're like, we don't even know why. They wanted to accommodate me and have me go wrestle first. I'm like, nah. I'm going to see him tomorrow. It's good. He knows what I do, because the show was set up before he got married. It was just one of those spare of the moment things. My nephew and his wife are in the Navy, so they wanted to make sure they were on the same base. So we have a long, but that's another story for another day. We made sure that they got married and got on the same yard.
Yep.
But
Beautiful.
yeah, it's nice when everybody gets there. And it's not just that particular show. It's every time.
Right.
Every time we have a show, we get there, we set it up, we run, and we're good to go.
Right, and you guys don't have like a road crew, or
We are the road crew.
Yeah.
We're the road crew.
And not many people realize that. You you at the show, and they see you work a 5-10 minute match, and that's all he does.
That's not the case at all.
It's
That's
an
the
all
small
day.
part
It'd be
Right.
so nice. It'd just be, as that guy, it'd be swell just to run in there. Okay, I'm wrestling. All right, guys, see you.
I don't know of any independent promotion that has their own
Right.
ring.
No.
crew.
Right, but I don't
Yeah.
think people realize it though.
Right.
Until you see it yourself, or somebody clues you in.
I've worked for like I said, I've worked for Gino Caruso, and he's done the shows down in Bridgeport
Yep.
for Jay Piccirillo.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I helped, and
One of the best moments on our show, by the way, was when you busted in. And,
yeah,
Yes.
that was the other guy.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
remember that guy. But that's what you guys. That's why I named you Ruckus.
Yep.
That might have been that night.
I think so.
But yeah, I don't think that any one of us in that school is above putting a board together or carrying iron or putting it up, because at the end of the day, we want to put out 110%. So whether we're setting up the ring, whether we're putting up the curtain, making sure that the guy's eating the back, whatever it is,
Your sound system's good.
sound. Perez does an awesome job with the sound. We have the new, we call it the Romatron 5000. We got the
Yeah,
video.
right.
We got the video that comes out. We got everybody's entrance music and videos, and which is neat, because again, at 44 years old when I started this journey, I never thought that I'd have an entrance period.
Yeah.
Now I got music and a theme song, and I got video, and
And each time you put on a show, it's like you add just a little something else. It just gets a little bit bigger, a little bit more finessed.
Yes,
if you will.
And that's what we want. We want to tune it, and we try to tune it. It's like, okay, what can we fix? Or what did we see that wasn't there? And we try to make it that much more better. And that's the beauty part of working for PAPW, working for Roma and Perez and Big Steve and Mancini, is that they were trained under Vince in the 80s, and that's the product they want to put out. If you notice at our shows, there's no blood, there's no going out into the crowds, there's no obscene gestures, there's no, talking to the crowd.
Family friendly.
Yes, I mean, if we use a chair or some outside interference, like when I was wrestling when I wrestled the Pyramids of Power, the chair made sense at the time. Mm-hmm. We want it to make sense. We don't want to just have a random chair shot for a random chair shot. Yeah. It's got to make sense with the story.
Mm-hmm. Or like the ladder match, for example, we had in January.
That was
Same
perfect.
thing, it's all about placement. Otherwise, it loses its value.
It's you're just doing something to make the crowd go ooh and ah. No, you want to be able to. You want that crowd to be on that journey, and you want to tell them that story from the first guy's music to the bell ringing and the last guy's music, and that's what we want, and that's what we're getting down to a fairly good science.
And I know from show, not just during each show, but from one show to the next show to the next show, you've got like a story arc that is slowly playing out. And I think that's why you're bringing the same fans back in, and they're also bringing in by word of mouth.
People want to see what happens next.
Yeah.
We went to the schools in East Haven, and I went to 3 or 4 schools the week of the show, and signed pictures and took pictures with the kids, and the principal got involved, and a lot of the kids I'm like, are you coming to the show? They're like, well, we don't know. I don't know if I want to go to the show. And then all of a sudden, and you remember little kids, I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah.
And like all of a sudden, when we had our intermission, and we're out there talking to the kids, they're like, I made it, and I'm here, and remember me? And it's like, it's like all these kids came. And somebody took a picture of Kenny Roberts at the end of his match, and all those kids were in the ring.
Yeah.
And Kenny showed me the picture in the back. He goes, look at this. I'm like, dude, that's awesome. I mean, that's tremendous. He goes, no, but look at the picture. And I'm looking. I'm like, what do you want me to say? I said, the ring's full. I said, you're breaking the ring. He goes, no, look at all those shirts. All these little kids bought my shirt. But they're in the ring with Kenny, and I'm like, sorry, brother.
Yeah.
Free shirt for you. But again, it's you can like Sergeant Murray, and you can like Kenny Roberts, you can like Matthias. You got little kids tell me, I hate Holiday. These are little kids, 3rd, 4th, 5th grade. And I'm like, wow, these kids are savvy. They're very wrestling savvy, which is amazing, because we're not the WWE. Mm-hmm. We're not TNA. We're not on twice a week and have a network online. And
we're working on that, though.
We're trying.
I'm talking to the man.
We're trying, but we don't have that. But we go and we talk to and again, it's just talking to kids and talking to the families. And we were at the after party. We can be adults here. It's an adult show. We were at the after party, myself and Toothe and a bunch of us.
Drinking water.
I wasn't drinking water.
Although I like the place up the street better.
Oh, stop it. We're not going to have this debate.
Yeah.
I don't drink water when I go out. I am.
Kidding.
You're an adult.
I am Irish on my mother's side.
But you're responsible.
And I missed St. Patrick's Day because I was making sure, I was ready for the show. And I did have an Irish car bomber one.
Thanks for that, by the way.
You're welcome. That's why I was there. And a little girl's dad looks at me and goes, "Are you Sergeant Murray?" And I look at him, I'm like, "Yeah, why?" He goes, "My daughter wanted to go to the show, but she has a thing with crowds." I'm like, "You tell her to come to the next show. She can sit by me."
Nice.
And I said, "Get your phone out." He said, "Okay." I said, "Get the camera up." And then we took a picture. Okay, it was in a bar, but her dad and I took a picture. Now, she wouldn't have known, her dad wouldn't have known who I was if she wouldn't have took the picture home and said, "Daddy, And he said, I was trying to ask her if she wanted to go all week, but she just doesn't do well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, Is it awkward that a little girl's dad sees you in a bar and says, "Hey, are you Sergeant Murray?"
Yeah.
Yeah. But I've had worse things said to me in a bar, and I gotta. That wasn't me. I don't know what you're talking about.
Right.
You know, that was the other guy. You know.
Right.
But
And again, for a guy from an independent show, and I'm not demeaning anybody, but for a guy from an independent show to be like just in a random place,
yeah,
you know, and to be recognized, it's got to be something, you know.
it's neat. You know, I'm not gonna lie and say it's not. It's neat and it's weird.
Yeah.
At the same time, because it's like, because of my job, you try to keep it low key when you go out.
Right.
Because in my job, you do run into people.
Yeah.
That you see on the inside. So
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
like,
yeah.
so if you hear Murray,
Yeah.
you're like.
Mhm.
But if you hear Sergeant Murray, it's like,
Yeah.
okay, wait a minute, I can respond to this.
Right.
And turn
Yeah.
around and say, hey, what's up? You know. And
Yeah.
So it is kind of cool. You know, the kids are good. The families are great. You know, the moms and dads. You know, I think they like our program because we give them good guys and bad guys, and we're not over the top.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got your pyramids of power there to combat Sergeant Murray.
Yeah, them guys there, boy. It's that's a rough room with them three, boy. I tell you what, them two or three, because you got the manager, but. You know, well, you know, we did away with them. Won that flag match, got my flag back, and that's all I got to say about that. You know, but
And you moved on to bigger things, and they moved on to other things.
wrestled AJ Specter, kid from New York, Staten Island. You know,
Yeah, tell me a little bit about him, if you.
You know, I didn't know much about him. You know, and again, you get into this and you become a student of psychology, and you become a student of it, and you start. It's like almost like playing football to me, or doing stuff. You know, you start studying tape, and you know, and I looked up his matches, and I studied 3 or 4 of his matches because we don't know what's going on, and he's a wiry little dude. You know, he you know, again, TV makes you look bigger. You know, so he looked bigger than I thought he was, and then I saw him, and I'm like, all right, and his girl, she's an interferer. I mean. She got me good, man. Threw me into that pole, and you know, I had a little knot up there. I mean, nothing one, you know, a couple ice cubes at the establishment wouldn't fix.
Right.
But
All I get from that, it's the greatest love story never told, and that's. I
have to
watched a couple of his videos, interviews, and.
that song, I didn't like that song before, and I hated it even more now. And again, I'll never hit a woman on purpose, but you know.
Choose your next words carefully.
Right.
That's why I didn't say anything.
Yeah.
Right.
I didn't say
No
anything.
answer's the best answer.
Yeah.
Now, RJ, you've been pretty quiet all along.
Sorry.
No, don't worry.
Being the voice of,
yeah.
you know, I mean, you've called different organizations, and I'm not going to ask you to pick a favorite, but what distinguishes Paradise Alley from the other products that you've seen and work with?
Definitely the fans. Absolutely the fans. Pretty much for most of the time when you go to an independent show around here, especially with more established companies, you're going to get the same fan base, but and most of them are kind of a little smart to what's going on. You know what I mean? The PAPW fan base is really kind of younger for the most part, and they invest, which is what I like. Like I said, Kenny Roberts gets a pop louder than anyone I've ever heard or anyone that I've ever worked shows with. And I've worked shows with some pretty, you know, big people, not to be that guy.
Yeah.
But
No, you have.
head and shoulders, he has the best reaction I've ever heard. And it's just because the kids and the people invest in him and his character. And you don't really see that too much in wrestling today because so much of it has been exposed, kind of, you know what I mean?
Right.
That it's refreshing to be able to, you know, work in front of a crowd that still kind of has that, like, maybe kind of like the childhood mentality, because even the adults kind of have it. You know, they let themselves get swept up in it, and it's refreshing and it's nice.
It's escapism, you know. It's fun, and we always call it soap opera for men, and you guys are definitely putting on a story, you know. And whereas it's just not two guys randomly slugging it out for kind of no reason. You know, you guys kind of lay out a reason for the matches. And, you know, I will say, you know, you do have April 22nd coming up for James Raymond.
Yeah.
And at the last show on March 18th, James Raymond had a table there, and he had Matt Stryker. And I I saw something that wasn't for the cameras, that wasn't for the press. It was just something that naturally happened. James Raymond's daughter has autism, as we all know. And the show on April 22nd will be Knockout Autism, and all the proceeds will go to benefit autism. It's not going to be like nobody's going to have a hand in somebody's
I just
pocket.
wanted to clear up that confusion. A lot of
Okay.
people think that the money that's being raised is going to him and his family.
No.
That is not the case at all.
It's going to autism awareness.
Yeah.
He's got a specific fund that it's going to, and you know, if you check out any of our Facebook pages, you'll see that there. Which again, it's a charity, a good charity for folks with autism and kids, and that's why we do it.
Yep.
You know, and that's why we're doing it. You know, and so yeah, we want to make sure that's completely cleared up.
So James Raymond had his daughter there, and she is adverse to crowds as well.
Yes.
Yep.
And Stryker was sitting with her and coloring with her and making her feel comfortable and just being a regular guy and just being like almost like a dad. I don't know if he's got children of his own.
I don't think he does.
But I know he was a legit school teacher.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And he was just sitting with her and making her comfortable. And as I said, you know, there was no cameras on him. It wasn't for, you know, a photo opportunity or to impress anybody. And I was just kind of watching out of the corner of my eye. And it was just something to see that he was just being a genuine guy.
Yep.
And you know, you don't see that, you know, because you've seen, you know, major stars or, you know, WWE figures or, you know, and you know they come in and they're just paid and they get their check and they go home and they're kind of jerks, let's say. But he was just a genuine, regular guy, just very nice with her, and I can't express enough how cool it was to see and how heartwarming it was to see Stryker just sitting there with this little girl, and like nobody else existed.
That's amazing.
And also the fact from the set, literally the second he walked in, from the janitor up to Paul, he shook every person's hand.
I was just about to say that. He came back to the back and shook all of our hands.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, he critiqued a couple matches guys asked him to. And he was so cool about it. You know, I mean, I even asked him about mine. Now, I get my match. I'm a, you know, American hero, go out, wave the flag, boom. That's exactly what he said. He said, but you told the story. It wasn't just going out there.
cheap pops.
Yeah. I mean, and it's really is kind of amazing because of my entrance music that since day one with my entrance music, they all stand. So when my entrance music starts, it used to be, you know, somebody would get up and then they would, you know, popcorn up. Now it's like, it's really weird when when I put the flag through the curtain and they see the flag and the music starts and to hear that is just, it gets you that you want to go out there now. If they're going to give you that love before you even before you breach the curtain, you want to go out there and make sure you give them that 110%. And that was one of the things that Matt Stryker had said to us in the back. He goes, you got to remember that. It's not about you, it's about them.
Right.
And true words were never spoken, and he was a complete gentleman.
Yeah.
Everybody back there.
Yeah.
Everybody. And like RJ said, from the guy that was sweeping to the floor all the way up the room,
I
he
noticed
shook
that
all
too.
of our hands, introduced himself, looked us in the eye, shook our hands, and did it when he came in, and he did it when he left too. He made sure that he said goodbye to everybody when he left.
And there was a time when you had interviewed Stryker, and Stryker took over the interview and pretended he was you.
That was awesome.
And he was Stryker was
pretend to be Jay.
well. Stryker was goofing on Jason.
I want to be Jay.
And,
one day, grow up.
Stryker was goofing on Jason. I brought it up to Stryker, and I didn't expect him to remember. He's like,
And he remembered.
no, he didn't actually. And he's like, I was like, you know, my partner Jason, and you know, he interviewed you, and you swapped with him, and he's like, really? He's like, I did that. I'm like, yeah. He's like, I hope I didn't come off as a dick. I'm like, no, not at all, not at all, man. He's like, really? Are you sure? Because you know, I really don't want to come off that way. He's like, no, it was the funniest thing.
It was awesome.
It was really funny, and it was one of the highlights of your career.
Back
I
when they were
must say.
calling it was the name before Blitzkrieg.
Them versus us. Oh.
Us
Us versus them. Wow, that's
Yeah.
how long it's been. I don't even remember.
Yeah.
Right.
I wasn't even with the company when it was called that. so.
Right. But
Right.
it was just a really funny moment for us and for you. And I didn't expect him to remember it, but it was really funny. And as you said, he was just a consummate gentleman. And walked through and he introduced himself to me, and Jacob, and
No
everyone
air
around
about
us.
him whatsoever.
Yeah,
No
he was
air
really
about him
cool
at all.
And I think Professor Bill marked out.
Probably.
And Professor
He
Bill
marks
went
out
up,
over Chikara.
I was going
I
to say,
know.
I couldn't imagine if he worked for
right.
Chikara.
And Bill went up to him. He's like, "Oh, I watch you on Lucha Underground." And Stryker's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, man." It was great. It was great.
Where is Professor Bill?
He should be on his way. He's running a little late today.
Running a little late.
Professor Bill got in the ring with us last week. Professor
Oh, I didn't know that was.
What was the word on that?
Yeah,
Bill
yeah.
got in the ring with us last week.
Well, we weren't supposed to say that, but
That's okay. That's okay.
Whichever.
yeah, putting on the stripes.
Speaking of you, Sergeant Murray,
Sir.
I don't know what's going on in the back, but if we don't get to it, there is on the group page 10 minutes of your last 3 matches.
Thank you.
They say it's ready.
Oh.
What we can do,
we gonna do color commentary and
we can
discuss
do,
it.
we can
Yeah,
do,
yeah,
we can
we'll
do
do-
that.
yeah,
We're gonna talk through it, or
Well,
we just
yeah,
let
we'll
it
talk
run
through
and,
it.
Why don't we talk?
We'll talk through it.
We'll talk through it if they're going to lean back. We don't want any volume on this.
We looking here?
Yeah.
Where are we looking?
Yeah, you're looking
Right.
to your right.
Yep.
There we are.
And here
There's
we
that
go.
confetti, boy. I love that confetti. That's the. If that isn't one of the coolest things I get to do, and hold that flag up, that's there right there. That's one of the greatest things I get to do right there. Is hold that flag and represent this country, represent this organization.
I think you trimmed down since then, no?
I have. I saw that video before, and it was I got all these skinny guys in there, and then there's the old big guy. So the big guy had to bring it down a little bit. Not as many Chinese takeout orders that work. So Roma's a good influence on you. If you want to see a guy that's in shape, that's the guy, man. And
Yeah.
At 50-something years old, he'll whip anybody's behind. So.
Yeah.
And if I have to hear about my man boobs one more time from the boys at work, that was it. Had to take care of that.
So we have you and we have
RJ Rude.
RJ Rude.
We did rock, paper, scissors. He was starting.
Rock, paper, scissors. And
Quick shout out to him, by the way. He's
Yeah.
going to be one of our guys for years to come.
Yes.
He's got a hell of a note. Yes, I don't know if you can
That's
say
my
it.
little. That's my
on the
little.
network, but he's got a really, really great future ahead.
That's my little brother right there, and I love him to death. And he kind of pushes me because he could be my son. He's old enough to be my son.
Right.
And that even makes it more creepy that I wrestle with my kid. And but I call him my little brother, and we have a good time when we go out there, and that's the thing. These pyramids of power, boy, they're sneaky little devils. Tell you that
Right.
much. From the first time we got in there and went at them, and they gave me that chair shot. Didn't really want to. Can't really turn your back on them much anymore.
And you guys are not only stepping it up in the ring, you're stepping it up outside the ring. DG Haven, his film crew is there.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm
very
looking
nice
forward.
equipment.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to see what becomes of that.
It's. I've seen his spots with Big Jim.
Yep.
Very good. He's they've got some promos out from with Marcel Williams.
right.
Went phenomenal. And DG's gonna be a good it's gonna be a good fit for us. I don't trust him because of what he wants to work, but and this actually here was the empowerment show. This was the show for the hockey team. So this I think was the January show.
Yeah.
This was the January
You,
show. They're
you
going
saw-
in chronological
Yeah,
order.
when you saw me point up to the rafters, my coworkers' sons, who again I call them my nephews because they call me their uncle.
Yeah.
They play on the East Haven hockey team. Actually, they're Joey Aloy. I'm gonna give him a little shout out. He got athlete of the week in East Haven, and he's probably gonna be doing big things in hockey. So it's good to we do things for the area. And it's nice that we can take care of these guys and do stuff for them.
Seems like you're giving more away than you're keeping for yourself.
Yeah, there is. That actually is another thing, going back into what you said before about what I like about PAPW as opposed to, where the other places I work. Every PAPW show is a charity. Every single one. There hasn't been one so far that hasn't, and going forward, I don't believe there's going to be one that isn't. So it's nice to, on top of doing what we love, to be able to give back in that same vein.
And that's a big reason why, like, when I go, because we're also the promoters. We're also the guys that put the posters up and the flyers out. And, I've got my 10, 12 places I go to and put posters up because they let me.
Yeah.
And because they understand. And it all started with Diesel Mania, and now it's just run from there. And I just walk into these places and we're doing a show and we can put posters up. So we also walk. We do the legwork. We don't just use social media, which is a lot of people, a lot of companies now, they invest in social media, but we go the extra step and we print posters, we print flyers, and we put them everywhere.
It's important to do, and I think with Diesel Mania, PAPW gained the whole community's respect.
Yes, and again,
put that on.
we raised just shy of $5,500 for the Michael D'Angelo Sports Scholarship Fund, and we'll be running Diesel Mania again on the 23rd of September. So that's our WrestleMania.
Right.
And so
Here's empowerment right here.
There's empowerment right there. This was the show for Stop 22 veterans. 22 veterans today commit suicide, and that's legit. That's not just work, and that's why we were honored to be. There's the boss. We were honored to be part of that show because, again, I am a veteran. I've never had that type of thought in my head, thank God, and luckily I have a good family and good support system now more than ever with being involved with Paradise Alley, and
It's your extended family, your Paradise Alley family.
they are.
Right.
My wife gets. I'm only gonna be gone a couple hours. Yeah. Last night, I'm only gonna be gone till like 11:30. What were you doing at school? We're working. And that's the thing. We genuinely love being around each other. We're like any family though, we fight, but at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, when it comes down to the company comes first. We hash out our differences, and the company is what comes first.
Well, the family atmosphere, I haven't really made an announcement. I haven't really said it, but I'll say it. I mean, you guys know, the people in this room know, but, Jacob has been down there training with you guys.
I wasn't going to say it.
From the get-go, everybody that walks in that door is willing to help them, is more than happy to help them, just encouraging, and just doesn't care, about their moment. It's
Zim, the kid's a stud.
It's
Come on,
unbelievable.
the kid's a stud.
No, but,
he's 15?
15.
He's 15. He's 9'7".
Yeah.
He's a straight stud. That kid is an animal, and I love him.
Marcel Williams the other day just helped him. Everybody.
Yeah.
And it took time out of their training and their schedule and their spots, and they didn't care. And it was like they were helping him get through this one particular maneuver that he was having a little trouble with. And they just all wanted to see him succeed. And Roma and Mancini and everybody involved. And I'm just like, okay, what's the gag?
Yeah.
Because everybody is so good and so nice with him and just so encouraging. And I'm like, okay, this can't be real.
Yeah. It's such an uplifting environment, especially when you go down there on Wednesday nights and everybody's down there.
Yeah.
It's just so great. Everyone's helping each other out. Like, I for a long time, I kind of had a bad view towards. I mean, we don't have to rehash all that.
Right.
But I'm down there, now, and I just see all this great stuff happening, and I'm just like, how were things ever the way they were?
Yeah.
How is my view of the school and of the company so jaded for so long?
Yeah.
It's not anymore.
No, and for good reason, because I'm having some of the most fun I've had in wrestling so far with PAPW.
Here's AJ Spector.
There's the
right
greatest horse snot ever told right there. that right there. And that little kid, again, he like the old sucker punch, the kid likes it, and I'm not gonna deny him that, but at least, hit me in the face like a man. Don't just,
Oh, speaking of Jacob, there he is at the table.
Yeah, there he is.
There he is.
And again, Jacob, and again, I could be talking about my match, and I'm going to talk about Jacob because, the kid, literally, he's been there 3 weeks, and from day one, he's helping set the ring. He's helping do this. What can I do? What do you need done? They came, he came down, helped, loading, unloading. I mean, the kid genuinely wants to be a wrestler, and he genuinely wants to learn from the bottom up. And not saying that it's bad to start from the bottom up, but you know what? When you start at the bottom, you appreciate everything else when you get to the top. And that's why it's a genuine pleasure to work with Jacob. He gets it, and he's not like, I'm gonna be this guy. He wants to learn. He's like, what am I doing? What can I do? And yeah, it took him a little bit to get that move, but boy, once he got it, he was a gangster. And he, maybe it's youth and having zero fear, because God, I wish I was 15 again and had that zero fear factor. Now I'm more afraid of brittle bone disease than I am of getting hurt. But, when you get to 48, you kind of think things through a little bit better. But then when you get in that ring, you really don't. You want to, again, you want to give these people what they want, and then if you can throw a clothesline on a kid like that and knock him out of his boots, I'm not mad about it. I'm quite happy with it. So.
And we're back. We may have some more. They got to tell me.
Well, if we do, we do. If we don't, we don't. It's again, I don't want to.
Sergeant Murray in action.
We want to.
They're saying we'll play it.
Okay.
Whatever you guys got.
That's
more for the show.
This is the show itself.
Okay, this is Big Jim and Zane, and there's
Right.
DG.
And there's DG Hammond.
I don't think Zane really realized that he was about to become a sacrificial lamb to the Church of Haven.
Right.
And I'm not a believer in the Church of Haven, but you can't fight what's there. I mean, it's there. And and I've wrestled Big Jim. Big Jim is one of those large individuals.
Yeah.
That you can be quick and little. And you think you know, but you can point at your head all you
This
want.
is a true test for Zane here.
Yeah.
test, more of a trial.
Yeah.
Fed to the lions.
Yeah, it's more of a
message.
It's more of you drew that straw.
Yeah.
Right.
You got that short one, and now you're gonna see what the big one feels like. And yes, he does. And again, he's one of those young kids that he's got that following, and good on him. He's young. He's young, and that's the thing. He's figuring it out. He's not figuring this out, because that's a heck of a spot to be in. But and there's that clothesline from hell that tends to be a little sticky.
We have to pencil in a time where Big Jim can grace us with his presence here in the studio once again.
I'm sure I can.
He's always He's
sure
always
I can-
asking about it. It's just a matter of scheduling. Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'll talk to Big Jim.
It's a matter of scheduling.
Well,
You'd
I
be
think
the first one to be able to.
The thing about Big Jim and DG Haven is I've been in places that maybe DG Haven hasn't, even though so I will talk to people.
we had a little talk with DJ Haven over the weekend.
Yeah, he's that creepy guy.
He has one of our business cards now.
He's a creepy guy, and it is what it is. But this doesn't look good for AJ.
Whatever he's doing, it's working.
Yeah. He's got Jim.
Zane.
Oh yeah, I think that might be done. Put down there. There you go.
There it is. Oh.
Yeah, he's gonna suffer.
Big Jim ain't done
No,
yet.
I think he's gonna suffer more.
Yeah.
We're not going to show exactly how this ended.
Well, it wasn't good for Zane Bernardo. Let's just leave it at that.
I was about to say, I don't think you can play that on TV. How it ended. I don't think you have that rating capability right here.
Oh, if I saw that coming at me.
Yeah, that was his high spot.
That was
Use an inside term.
the sum. Yeah, that was the sum total of his offense.
I don't care if it's an inside term or not. That was his high spot.
See, you come down here and we make you watch television, but we're making you watch television
Yourself, right?
of yourself.
And you know what? It's. I don't want to say. I mean, I do watch my matches, but it's more of an education for myself to see. Okay, what can I fix? And then, you know, to be critiqued by, oh boy, that looks like it's stung. But to be when you get critiqued by Roma, and you get critiqued by Perez, and you get critiqued by Mancini, and you don't see it, it's kind of hard to understand it. And then you go back and watch it, and you see it from certain angles. It's like, oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what he's talking about. Okay, I need to fix that.
Here's the House of Pain.
It's just the yellow.
Love
I'm
them
trying
guys.
to become more and more familiarized with the House of Pain.
The House of Pain. If you don't know, you better know.
Right.
Don't sleep on them. Those are three cats that are.
This is 2/3 of them right here.
I'll admit I wasn't that familiar with the Elements. Yeah, this was their debut. This was their
This
debut.
was their. Yep.
They're from the New York area. I don't know too much about them, but they were impressive in this match. But yeah, to go back to what you were saying about House of Pain, you know, everyone talks about, you know, Kenny, Holiday, Matthias. You know, it's kind of easy to, I don't want to say look past these guys, but, you know, it's kind of easy to get lost in the fold.
Yeah.
You know, they're the tag champs, and I don't know if there's a hotter thing going.
And they beat the Battle
Yeah,
Brothers.
right now.
You know, they beat the Battle Brothers for the tag champs. Who there's no slouches.
Yeah.
You know, they've run the table up, you know, in Connecticut and on the indie scene for quite some time.
Yep.
And they had those straps for a good amount of time from us. So, you know, they're it's not like they're just beating, you know, anybody. They're beating guys, and they're putting it on them. And you know, you can't take away from that.
I mean, to break character, I mean, the House of Pain, like he was a veteran. He walked in there, they shook his hand, they're like, hey, let's go.
That was a nice little business idea, too.
Jacob did a good job.
Yeah.
Did a good job that night.
I was surprised. I don't know who's more excited for him or me.
Yeah, naturally, your reaction
Yeah.
would be through the,
You know, I'm watching him, and I'm like, you know, and we ride home, and I'm like, you know, how'd that feel? And he's like, oh, wow, you know, and just the joy on his face, you know, is enough for me,
I
man.
met your again. We'll break down a wall. I met your mom on Saturday, and she couldn't have been more proud to see her grandson in there handling his business, and it was our pleasure to meet your mom. She's super nice lady, and it was very cool. Now,
This is the other part of the House of Pain.
yeah, this is the 2/3. Those two are like 1/3.
This is the real 2/3.
This is the real 2/3. Like I said, you want to think that it was Dre breaking these boards or Big Jim, but again, we're going to put all the heat on Kenny Roberts because it was Kenny Roberts.
Yeah.
Kenny Roberts and them kids.
But, you know, my dad was a veteran. He was in the Navy during the Vietnam War.
Thank you.
And
I have mad respect. My family runs deep in the military.
Yeah.
My grandfather was in the Navy in World War II.
Yeah.
I've had cousins and uncles that served in Vietnam and various conflicts. And
but I know he would have loved to have seen, you know, when he was my mom. You know, and all I could think of was my dad should be.
yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing too. When again, that's the whole thing. Your mom's at the school. She hasn't eaten anywhere. She sees him in a shop.
Yeah.
That's good. She'll be all set.
Yeah, she's thrilled. She's thrilled.
Now, does Jacob go home and say, "Hey, big brother, let's go"?
No, not at all. You know, I mean, Jacob. I'm started out with Kempo karate, and he's in MMA at the moment as well. So he has a lot of respect for what he does.
Triple threat.
Yeah. He has a lot of respect for what he does, and you know where it belongs. It belongs in the ring. It doesn't belong. You know, karate doesn't belong on the street. You know, this kind of stuff. You know, don't try this at home. And he's definitely respectful of his craft and anyone that does it.
So that's a test to you because he's a very respectful young man to all of us when we're working, and he genuinely wants to learn. He doesn't just like see it and then be like the next big thing. He wants to learn.
I think being in the discipline, and I encourage anyone to get their kid into some sort of martial art, some sort of discipline training, and just knowing that it takes one building block at a time to achieve a goal, and that's with anything in life. I mean, you can't just walk into some place and be an expert at whatever it is you want to do. Whether it be, and it's going to take.
Well, you're not the voice.
I'm like the voice actor.
Yeah, but the voice, the voice is the big beard.
Yeah.
The GK. That's the voice. We gotta make sure we differentiate.
Yeah.
We'll have your dad on next week's show and we'll find out the real scoop.
I'll have my bottle of Jack Daniels ready for that.
But you did, Dan, you did put up a link, going back to Dieselmania. I didn't want to forget. They used some of the money that they raised, not only just in Dieselmania, but for the Michael Diesel Scholarship Fund. They also put into a scoreboard. You put a link on our page for that.
Yeah.
For the Friends of...
The school board approved it. The family donated, I believe it was $5.
I don't know.
Somewhere around
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Good chunk of change.
But the high school has a new scoreboard
Yeah.
this year, thanks to the efforts of everybody involved.
So that'll be something that they can look up to and see that there's some sort of legacy going on.
Right.
I'm just more excited to see how we're going to top it this year.
Yeah.
But we didn't top it.
Well, you know what? I mean,
sure
that
you
506, and that's a legit number. That's not a. That's not a.
That wasn't a fluff number. No,
right.
There was 500.
That wasn't the janitor. That wasn't counting my hiney in there.
We were putting chairs after chairs after chairs.
What do you mean we?
Out of them.
What do you mean we?
Well,
I know I was. I don't know about.
I was preparing for the show.
Yeah.
I can say this, is that when I'm in the back, I'm also kind of like the time guy. I'll get the time to 15. I'll start giving a countdown.
Yeah.
And we got to 2 minutes, and Roma came back and said, "Stop." I said, "Why?" He goes, "There's still people coming in." So we had to push pushed the start time back. And you saw.
Yeah.
Right.
And again, that's a testament to our fans coming out. And
Yeah.
there was rumors of snow, rain, sleet.
Everything.
We were running the gamut of emotions right there, and we were like, no, because if you remember, I think it was the November show or December show. It snowed.
Yeah. One of them it did snow.
And the fans came out.
December,
We still put 100 and something people in the building.
Yeah.
Which was again a testament to our fans.
Right.
Who are some of the greatest fans in the world. And so we were like, we're running. The bosses were like, we're running. And they're like, yeah, we're running. Why wouldn't we run? No, we're running. And the weather gods worked out. It stayed clear. It was beautiful. And boom, we put on a heck of a show. And I put right out on my Facebook and my Twitter and my Instagram. I put out, and I'll say it, 506 without a name. Can you do that? I'll wait.
And we need all those same people to come out April 8th in Middletown. We know it's a little bit of a hike, but you're going to get the same show as always. It's going to be not
How
the
does
same show
Middletown
as
come
always,
about?
but
How does Middletown come about? Did they approach you?
One of the a mom out there knew that we did it and had been to it, and somebody had told her that we do charities and fundraisers, and she reached out to Mario and said, hey, we want to do something for the Little League. Can you help us out? Boom, done. What do you want to do?
We got 5 minutes left.
Wow.
Yeah, time flies,
Speaking of, I do want to at least briefly touch upon the events of last weekend. Over at Blitzkrieg.
Okay, sure, yeah, absolutely.
We could talk more about it, some other time. But but brief synopsis. I mean, it was totally awesome. The atmosphere was great.
It was incredible. Ryder hovering around that same number, the 500 mark. Cody and Dijak put on an incredible match. Probably the best match that I ever called personally up to this point. everyone on the card, top to bottom, worked really hard. There was a really good four corners tag. You remember that with Leary and all those people, the Chikara guys.
The Chikara, Dasher Hatfield, Mr.
Yeah,
Touchdown.
Yeah. So there's been a pretty good influx of the Chikara guys at Blitzkrieg since Jeremy's been kind of starting to work with them a little more. And I've enjoyed it because, that style is incredible and the company is incredible as well. So it's a good partnership.
And they're going to be having, speaking of WrestleMania weekend, they're going to be holding cards, Chikara.
Chikara will be, I don't have any of the specifics.
So wait, you said
See if
Cody
I
Rhodes
can-
and Dijak already happened. So
Yeah.
there's no other reason to go see that again.
No, probably not.
Yeah.
See if I
So
can
if
get
you miss
some
it at
specifics
Blitzkrieg,
on that.
you just get the Blitzkrieg video. and
Yeah,
you'll be
just
all
wait
set.
for the Blitzkrieg video to come out.
Yeah.
I know some old friends of ours will be on that Chikara card. In addition, I believe Jeremy is going down to Orlando
Yeah,
over the
he'll be
weekend.
I'll be down there.
He'll be down there.
The Sea
Holiday-
Stars, the Sea
Holiday's
Stars
gonna
will
be
be
down
down
there.
there.
Holiday and Matthias are going to be down there.
Holiday and
We'll
Matthias are going to be down in
for, I
Orlando.
believe it's Orlando
Yep.
Championship Wrestling.
They're going to be down there.
Give a little shout out to those guys.
Yep.
Chikara is March 31st and
April
April
1st.
1st. This is coming from Ashley Vox's.
Speaking of Matthias, really quick, I was given, just before we wrap up here, I was given permission by Mario to announce this because it hasn't been announced yet.
Do it.
Ty Shine and Matthias on April 8th are going to face each other in an I Quit match to wrap up their little piece of business. So that's hasn't been on Facebook yet.
Exclusive.
Or anything.
Exclusive.
You guys are getting the exclusive.
Breaking
and that's
news.
going to be ugly. We all saw the way Ty cost Matthias his championship in January.
Right.
So,
this is a feud. I won't say
this
blood
is-
feud, but it's feud.
It's getting there.
Right.
It's up there. I mean, we kind of definitely have to keep those guys apart in the days of shows, so that one's going to be ugly and the good kind of ugly.
Yeah.
So
What can we expect to see from Sergeant Murray on April 8th?
Sergeant Murray is wrestling Jace of the 5-Star Spectacle. I'm sure you've had them on here before.
Not in studio, but we've
Had
We
footage.
know-
Featured
we know
their,
video.
featured their matches.
Yeah. We've had their matches.
Jace, again, I'll respect everybody, because that's the way I am. But until you don't respect me or disrespect me, and then all bets are off. Jace and I have had a little bit of a Facebook battle going on up as of days of late. And Jace, if you're watching, and I don't know if you are, but camera one.
There it
Jace,
is.
if you're watching, bring your 5 stars, bring your 1 star, bring your half a star. You ain't got nothing for me. And April 8th, Middletown, me and you, we'll settle it once and for all. We'll have a little fun. Gonna have a great time for those kids. But Jace, me and you, we're gonna work out a little problem.
Well, it's for the Little League. Maybe we should bring back like the Abe Schwartzman character.
I can bring a bat.
Yeah.
oh boy,
got
you go.
Dasher Hatfield.
I'm not too envious of Jace on April 8th.
Gentlemen, thank you.
You know
thank
something?
you.
This is the best WrestleMania pregame show
Oh, there
we
we go.
have had yet.
Yeah,
We'll have to
thank
make this
you
a
so
yearly
much.
thing. Coming
Yeah,
right before
right.
WrestleMania, me and
There you
RJ.
go.
That'll be it. There we
That'll
go.
be it.
You're
Put it
welcome
in.
anytime.
Put it in your phones right now, folks. Next year, we're coming in before WrestleMania.
Yeah,
That's
Tuesday
it.
before
With the week
WrestleMania.
of WrestleMania, we'll be in. We'll be the precursor.
You know he's legit because his phone is on military time. I just noticed that.
There you
Phone's
go.
on military time, and I got the red, where's camera one? The red, white, and
There
blue
it
is
is.
right on my phone case, and I
it
didn't
is.
buy that. I made that phone case. We made it. Don't worry about it. But gentlemen,
Send
thank
us
you,
off, John.
thank
you
you
so
for having
much.
us. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Come on again.
You're
and
always welcome. You guys know that.
we look forward to having more Paradise Alley talent in the near future.
I'll work on Big Jim.
Work on Big Jim.
Good luck with that.
And that Zachariah guy.
Holiday.
Yeah.
Richard Holiday's got to be back here again.
We'll
And the
see.
women. We got to get the women down there.
Well, he comes from New York, so Holiday. It's a bit of a.
It's a bit of a stretch for him.
Hey,
We'll have to go to the farm see if we can find Zachariah.
Yeah.
Poke
Holiday
around
will have to
there.
pick him up at Tweed. He's got a rider and stuff. He wants a limo, certain trucks. It's a pain, really.
we'll figure it out. I'm Hollywood J. Williams. Good night. Good luck.